Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, sirs. Thank you so much for coming around today. We don't have much time to spend, so we won't be waiting for others. Although we are trying to set up some stuffs earlier on. Okay, so I want to welcome everybody for today's class. It's a very popular topic we are treating on today, but also a very, very important one. And that is why we keep doing and teaching it. Very, very important. It helps you to refresh your memory and also helps you to know how to relate with people. So I want to welcome people in Asaba, people in Enugu, and every other person joining us and on our stream today, our Asaba office and Enugu office. You're welcome to this stream this morning. This is Business through Real Estate Masterclass with Dixon. All right. So today we're talking about all you need to know about land titles. So before I proceed, let's say a word of prayer and then we continue. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for such another beautiful day. We glorify your name, we magnify you. Lord, we thank you for your mercies that endure forever in our lives. Father, we thank you for your mercy. We thank you for your grace. We thank you for your love. We thank you for your protections. We thank you for your provisions. We thank you for how far you have been leading us and how far you have brought us. Father, blessed be your name in the name of Jesus. Therefore, Lord, we ask for your mercies. We ask for your forgiveness of sin. Anyway, we have sinned against you. And anyway, we have cut short of your glory. Father, we ask for your mercy upon our lives in the name of Jesus. And Lord, this morning we commit into your hands, Lord. In little time we're going to be spending on this teaching, Father, we pray for understanding. We pray for inspiration. We pray for breakthrough in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Okay, so we're then on all you need to know about land titles. Okay, all you need to know about land titles. This land titles is one of the most important aspects of the real estate industry. Very, very important aspect of the real estate industry. Land titles, and this is what people who are investors keep asking you as a consultant and as a realtor. They keep asking you, what is the title of the land? And if you don't know about it, and if you cannot make research about it, means maybe you don't know what you are doing. So that is why we are talking what about line titles you need to know in Nigeria. In Nigeria, this is what I'm talking about because so many other countries have most of them have their own titles. Although there are some titles that are global titles all over the world, but some other countries have their own titles. Some of the countries have the way they operate. So for you who is doing a consulting business in Nigeria in real estate, you need to understand the titles of land and real estate. So I won't be wasting much time into this topic. Let's move forward. Okay. So take my remote. How are you? Okay. So the first important thing to note is that every land is owned by the state government. This is in accordance with the Land Use Act 1978. The government leases any land purchased for a period of 99 years, after which such title can be renewed by the owner. A land can either be free or under government acquisition. A land free from government encumbrances makes it easy to obtain a certificate of occupancy or any type of good land title. So it is very, very important. In Nigeria, there's a law that all lands are owned by government. All lands, no matter the history of the land, the law says that all land are owned by the government. By the government. That's the law. Look at what it says. Land Use Act 1978. It's been a long time. Is there? All land are owned by government, and that is why I want to enter government. So I'll follow government people that owns land. Okay. Now let's move forward. It is important for anyone seeking to purchase real estate to search the title of such property at the appropriate land registry. Each state maintains a land registry where a title to the property can be searched. The land title in Lagos State can be searched through the Land Bureau at Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos. A diligent search for the land title can also involve a search at a court registry where the land title to the land involves court judgment or probate registry in case of property of a deceased person. Now, why we are teaching on these things about land titles is because there are so many in a hurry company. Let me use that word. So many in a hurry company. They are in a hurry to sell. You will see a company that will come out, bring out a particular portion of land, and they say this land is for sale. And they'll start pushing the land for sale. They'll start selling the land. And it's not after people are done investing in the land, they'll now start going for the land documents. And most of the times when government refuses to approve the land, it becomes an issue with people. The money you have collected, how do you do it? Will you refund it back? They start having issues. And that is why you as a consultant, a professional one at that matter, should consider this company that I'm marketing for. What is the title of the land? Is everything about the land document secured? Very, very important. So that is why it's so important to understand the land you are marketing. Know the process. Know what's going on. Is this something I am ready to market? Okay. So now, because every land in every state has a particular office, which is the land registry office, where you can go and make inquiry about a particular land and know whether it's free from government acquisition or whether it's a good land or whether it's a land owned by the government. Now, if a property does not have your name on its title, another person can legally claim that property, even if the property belongs to you. But as long as you possess the relevant title documents recognized by the government, then you have nothing to worry about. The Office of the Land Registry records all legally recognized land titles. Now, what we are teaching today is beyond you as a consultant or a realtor. Okay, just say know about it so you know when to say. No. Personally, when you have your own land or as you have your own land or even your own land, it is important to document the land. Look at what it says. Say if a property does not have your name on its title, another person can legally claim that property. No, you have a property from your father, or you have a property from your land, it was your inheritance, and they gave it to you. If you don't do all the necessary documents that needs to have your name on the title, somebody else can do it and claim your land. And you go to court and whatever, the person owns the land. That is why it's important to understand these documents, these titles, so that even while you are purchasing your own personal land, or while you are doing something that has to do with land, you know that, okay, you are going through every process required for that land when it comes to the document. Once you have your land titles at liberty to do what you... Okay, so once you have your land titles, you are at liberty to do what you please with your property. You can transfer it whenever and to whomever you please. The controversy over ownership of land in Nigeria is extreme, even among family members. On a daily basis, people are trooping into the Nigerian High Court to settle land disputes. People are dragging land every day. People are fighting over land. Family members and others fighting over land. Now, most of these things are caused because the main owner or the original owner was not able to process the land documents properly. Because once you have your land document processed properly, no matter how someone wants to drag the land from you, you win. Because you have done all the necessary documentation you need to do about the land. And that is why at CPLAT, when you want to buy land from us, we give you documents, pile of it, showing everything about the land. So you don't have any, story tomorrow. Okay, that's why these things are important. Now, to avoid this, avoid going to court, avoid fighting over land, one of the first questions you should ask before you buy land is the title on the land. You should also understand the key title documents that prove ownership of the property. Key land titles in Nigeria, in order to avoid a short tail and endless visit to the court, these are the key documents to know and how you can access them. So I'll be showing you these land titles and some other important key documents you need to know before you talk about selling or buying a land. Very, very important documents. Let's move on. I think my remote is low. Now, there are two types of acquisitions, and one is committed and global. Now, look at this. Committed acquisition here, the land has registered interest by the government for slated purposes, such as roads, defense purposes, drainages, canals, airports, schools, etc. A person who purchases such land will find the perfection of the land title problematic. Look at the word here, problematic. And where a person proceeds with property development on such land, it can be subject to demolition with no compensation. So, committed acquisition is a land that the government have mapped out and say, no matter the owners of this land, we want to use this land for, let's say, Nigerian Navy or Nigerian Army or a hospital or road or airport, anything at all the government wants to use that land for. That's committed acquisition. And that is why it's important before you buy any land, even if the family is telling you, okay, we want to sell this land, go and search for that land. Check the government plan for the land. Does government have any interest in this land? Just like the land in Enugu now, Enugu Phase 2, our estate there, if you are driving along that road, there is a very huge land, many acres of land. I'm talking about acres here. Massive land, fenced, although it was a short fence, fenced along the road. You can drive for up to 3 minutes, even while speeding, before you pass through that land. So it's a land that can maybe from here to Agora roundabout. When it comes to the length I'm seeing on the road, I'm not talking about the inside now. Very massive land. Now, that land was slated there for, I think it was Nigerian Army pension something. So that's where the Nigerian Army will stay in that location. So anybody who is going to say, okay, I want to buy land, let's say the family members that owns the land or whatever, and they are saying, okay, I want to buy this land, and you are buying, you are wasting your money. Because when the government remembers you, when the government comes back to take the land, they don't even care about what you're talking about. They don't care the kind of mansion you have built there. They will pull it down with no compensation, no one naira, because the land was slated and mapped out for the government for that purpose. So it's so important to understand these things. Okay, so let's proceed. Now look at this. Look at this. Now, there's a global or non-committed acquisition. This refers to lands that have been acquired long ago by the government, but the lands have no slated purpose, such lands can be turned free through the process of rectification. So it means this land, government has no interest in the land to do anything with it. So, but if you want to process that land or acquire the land, you need to still go to the government and go through every process of rectification to make sure, okay, you have come, government, the land they want to buy, look at it. Do you have any interest in the land? They said, no. They'll just give you the documents and you go ahead and do whatever you want to do. At that point, you have your legal document. Governments cannot come to claim it back. Even if they want to claim it back, even if it's so important to them to claim the land back, let's say they want to do something there that's so important, they will have to pay you and compensate you because you're not the original owner of the land. Though they are the owner, but because you have gone through those process of documents, they have to compensate you heavily. There are people that they have land that government wants to do something there, and they are paid. Most of them are giving another better land in another location just to compensate them. Okay, so now let's move forward. No, my remote is actually disturbing. Now look at one of the documents on the land title is accession. Accession simply means the government releasing a parcel of land that has been under global acquisition. Remember, we talked about global acquisition in the past. Now, a family or an individual interested in such land can process a government-approved accession, and documentation for the land can be processed up to the governor's consent level. Now, all these land titles has level by level. And most of these titles is what makes some land in Nigeria to be cheap, while some of them are expensive because of the titles. Because I believe getting all these documents, most of them pay heavy money to get it. You must pay some, dues and other stuffs. So look at, let me go to the previous slide we had. Is it from here? Oh. I think it's from here. Yes, my battery is down. Help me check, media people, help me check the pulse of this thing and see if there's another battery there. So now, going to the previous one, let's talk about global or non-committed acquisition. Now look at what it says. This refers to land that have been acquired long ago by the government, but the lands have no slated purposes. Now, like we said initially, that all land belongs to the government in Nigeria. All land belongs to the government. So now, when a land, you have checked the land, is non-committed acquisition, that means you want to buy the land or you want to process the land. One of the documents you need to go for is a cession. I don't talk about, you need to go for a cession. Now, a cession simply means the government releasing a parcel of land that has been under global acquisition in the past. A family or individual interested in such land can process a government-approved cession, and documentation for the land can be processed up to governance consents. Now, let's proceed. This is my remote. Mr. Bright, please give this thing to Albert. Let them change the extra battery and change the battery. Yes, I think the battery is there. Okay, now let's proceed. Watch this. The other one is Gazette. Now, Gazette is an official record book that spells out all details of an expanse of land that has been excised and given back to the community. Now, remember, all these things has process. The other one was let's see it again. The other one was non-committed acquisition, which is global acquisition. Now, it means government has no interest in this land to do anything with. Now, for you to now process this land, you need to go to what we call a cession. Now, and a cession means the government releasing a parcel of land that has been under global acquisition in the past to a family or individual who has interest in the land. So government is not releasing the land to you. And so, yeah, you can continue whatever you want to do. Now, from this decision, the next document that's higher than this one is called Gazette. Now, look at what he's saying. It's an official record book that spells out all details of an expanse land that has been excised, which is that decision we talked about, that government has released and say, okay, you do whatever you want to do, and giving back to the community. The details include the name of the community and the details of the expanse of the land given a decision. The decision document is usually taken to the surveyor, usually taken to the surveyor general's office for the land to be gazetted. With a gazetted, a person can apply for a certificate of occupancy or governor's consent, which is a document granting permission to use and own the land for 99 years. So after 99 years, you have to go and renew it again. And look at what we are saying here. I'm not sure you can just jump from non-acquisition of a land to CFO, which is certificate of occupancy. You have to go through a cession. They'll check it and excise it. You have to go to Gazette before you now talk about governor's consent or certificate of occupancy. So these things has level by level. I don't know if you're following me. Now look at the next one. Governor's consent. Governor's consent simply refers to the approval of the governor of every state of Nigeria of any transaction concerning land. It is an integral part of a land transaction as consent is usually required for perfection of any land transaction. The main purpose of obtaining a governor's consent is so the government is aware that ownership of land has been transferred to another person. Now, this is a very important aspect in land title because Let's say a particular land now has certificate of occupancy, which is CFO, and that's one of the highest in Nigeria. Now, and you are the owner of the land, and then you want to sell the land to me. I cannot, because your name is in that land. Let's say your name is Mr. John Obi, and Mr. John Obi is owner of the land, and that land has a title called certificate of occupancy. Now, if you want to sell the land to me, I cannot change that name you have in that document. The name will still remain Mr. Obi John, Mr. John Obi. Now, with me having my own name on the document or having my own document of the land, I will have to go and apply for what's called governor's consent. And say, Mr. Governor, this land, so land was owned by John Obi, and I'm buying the land now. So they're transferring the whole documents to me. So with the governor's consent, it now means I'm not the legal owner of that land. Are you getting it? So that's why all these documents most times works together. And it says this consent can be applied for and obtained multiple times, as many times as possession of such land is being handed over to multiple purchases over time. Governor's consent helps in legalization of such property as the government is made aware of the transfer of ownership rights. Therefore, as long as the consent is obtained by the buyer, the ownership rights will be properly secured. So even if I get a governor's consent of Mr. John Obi's land that has C of O, Mr. James might want to buy the land from me. Mr. James will still have to go and apply for governor's consent of that same land. So each and every one of us will be giving Mr. James our documents about the land. But Mr. James needs to still have a governor's consent of that land, showing that, oh, this land was initially owned by Mr. John Obi, and then Mr. Success bought it from Mr. John Obi, and then me, Mr. James, is now buying from Mr. Success. So no matter how you want to sell the land, there must be governor's consent. And most of all these things are very, very processed in the highway in Lagos State. Because Lagos State has no land to waste. So everything about Lagos State land is seriously, applied for. Just move forward. The next one I have there is certificate of occupancy. It's called C of O. It's a popular one. Now, the certificate of occupancy is an authorized document of grant issued by the state government to an individual, groups of individuals, or an entity to confer ownership and right of occupancy in a definite land for all purposes for a term not exceeding 99 years, subject to renewal. The certificate of occupancy is a document issued only once to the first person to own and purchase such land as virgin land. Therefore, this document prevents multiple owners from claiming ownership of that piece of land. The C of O is usually issued for all government land allocations and properties. So as you can see, you cannot apply for C of O of a land 2 times. Let's say you have a land now and a C of O. I cannot come and apply because that land shows that you are the rightful owner of this land. Even if you want to sell that land, I will still have that your C of O certificate, document your name. But now, I will now have to go and apply for governor's consent, telling the government that, I bought so land from this man, because I cannot be applying for C of O of that land again. It's only one document. Look at what it says. It says, it's issued only once, C of O. Only once. Okay? So now, the next one I have there is deed of assignment. Now, these are some documents you need to know about land. Deed of assignment. This is a document that shows you are the new owner of the property. It's a very important document that should not be overlooked. It's also referred to as deed of conveyance, which means the process of transfer of ownership. It shows evidence that the seller has transferred all ownership rights and title on the land to the buyer. Okay, so this is what deed of assignment means. That is why most of the times, most companies, some of them have C of O, some of them have some other titles, accession. They still need to apply it. They still need to give you this document called deed of assignment, showing that they have transferred this property to you. It shouldn't be overlooked. It's a very, very important document you need to know in the real estate industry. Next one I have there is called survey plan. A survey plan details the exact, okay. A survey plan details the exact measurement and description of land, it including its length and breadth. It also helps to reveal if the land is under any government acquisition, which is also known as committed land. A committed property is one that the state or federal government has earmarked for a particular project. So to avoid conflict with the government, every land must be surveyed by a certified surveyor and a survey plan submitted for approval. That's why most of our lands, some of our lands in the east, now this survey plan title comes mostly in the east, because east, the southeast in Nigeria doesn't really have these issues Lagos people are having about land, CFO, decision and all that. Land east is one of the easy, it's not too difficult. But the major thing you must apply in every land you want to buy in the southeast is survey plan. That is almost of our titles are survey plan. Because survey plan helps you to show the measurement of the land. They will check it from their map, from the system. Is there any government interest in this land? They'll check everything. That's why we always go for survey plan. That's why every land under CPLAT goes through through surveyor's office. They will check it out if it's okay and it's good to go. We don't say any land that is not approved by the government to go ahead. Something happened recently in Asaba phase 2, or I think no phase 1. Either phase 1 or phase 2. They were discussing it last. I was in Enugu last week for the Enugu estate launch, phase 2 estate launch. So we were discussing about what happened in Asaba. Now, the manager in Asaba was saying that the government came and they were marking lands in that area. Marking lands, and they marked so many people's estates. Like some estates, they even enter the middle of the estate, proving that those land belong to the government. Whatever you are, wherever you are, you have to come and know what you are doing there. So they were saying that after all the marking, they did not near our estates. There was no even the distance from the last one they marked was too far from the estate. Mr. Dixon said it's true, because they went to the office and they checked every land there. They checked that to make sure that there is no government interest in the land. There is nothing like government land in the land we are selling. And that is why we are free from that. So you could imagine other estates that are there. People have put their money, people have invested their money, and they have this kind of issue. Because they have to come and see the government. If government tells them, people cannot do anything here, they cannot do anything there, the money is gone. So that is why all these things are so important. And that's why we are teaching you about it today. The next one we have there. Now, let me continue. So now, next one I have there is purchase receipt. No matter the document you want to pack in getting a land or acquiring a land, you need this receipt. This must clearly state the names of the purchaser and must include their signature. The names of the buyer have to be boldly written for documents and receipts to be valid. We all know the purpose of receipt in anything we do. Even common electronics now, you need to have receipt of it. Those about land. So anything you purchase requires receipt. So all these documents will help you. Just like yesterday, I was sent to go and buy a generator, and I got here. So after the whole buying, they have test generator, everything is okay. I was about moving into the car and carry it. Now I remembered, the seat. I said, "Guy, give me the seat." Say, give me the seat, please. We are done. I've transferred money. We're done with the whole stuff. I was about kind the gent to move. Say, receipt. I said, give me the seat. Because I was like, if I carry this thing now, and police officers stop me on the road, and it's a new gen, and they're like, what's the receipt? I say, that's another case. Because they will say, you stole it or whatever. So I have to take my receipt. So receipt is so important, even in little stuff, even in phone. Talking about land. Very, very important document you need to apply for. But the next one is contract of sale. The contract of sale is a legal document that must give a full description of what is being purchased and a description of payment to be made in the present and the future. Is a sale Contract of sale is a legal document that must give a full description. So if you bought 2 plots of land, your contract of sale should state that Mr. John is buying 2 plots of land in so angle of this estate. That's when the contract of sale. So you don't go and buy 2 plots of land or 3 plots of land, and your contract of sale is showing one plot of land. Because that is why all these documents, you must open your eyes, you must read and know before you even sign. Let me tell you, you can be scammed in this thing if you don't understand it. You go to a particular place now and you bought 3 plots of land. You're happy you bought 3 plots of land, and they gave you contract of sale, and you don't understand what it is. You don't even want to read it to understand. And this contract of sale, the people that sold the land to you are writing, Mr. John Obi bought 1.5 plots of land in this community. Now, in the future, when you are trying to drag, at that time you must have signed. When you are trying to drag your 3 plots, and they're telling you, God, no, you bought 1.5. You're like, what do you mean? I bought 3 plots. They have to bring a document. You bought a document, and they're showing you a document that's 1.5 that is there. You cannot win that case because you have signed. So that is why this contract of sale is so important. It's a full description of what is being purchased and the payments made in present and the future. If you are to pay 1 million in the next 3 years after you must have purchased that land, it will be stated there. Everything about the contract of sale. So that's why it's important to notice it. Now look at this next thing. The process of getting the land titles can be quite worrisome and frustrating. So it's very important that you secure the services of trusted real estate professionals to carry out this process for you. You see, this thing about land, CFO, governor's consent, this one and this one, most of the times it can be so troublesome, so stressful to go about it. And that is why companies like CPLAT are there to make it easy for you. Because as a company, as a real estate company, they handle the full details of the land. So if you are buying from CPLAT now, all you need to know is to ask, what's the title? And they give it to you. Then to stress yourself about anything, about going to check, about going to register, about going for this one. No. All you need to know is just what is the title. Because the company will carry out every process for you. That's it. Now look at the next one I wanted to consider. It's called Power of Attorney. Power of Attorney, POA, of a property is a legal document transferring the legal rights to the attorney or to the agent to manage and assess the principal property in the event the principal is unable to do so themselves. Because some land, the title is power of attorney. It means that a particular agent, a particular broker, a particular company has been given the authority by the owners of the land, let's say the community or the individual. They have received an authority from the person to take care of the land and to manage the land. So whenever I say power of attorney, it means that land has been discussed, that everything about the agreement has been made before they give him that certificate of power of attorney. Let me give an instance now. I may have a particular portion of land. Let's say in my village, I have let's say 2 acres in my village. And then I see that you're a real estate developer or you're into real estate. And me, I'm in London or in US. I don't have time to come and be managing the land myself. I don't have time to come and be doing anything in the land. I can call you and give you a power of attorney and say, look at so land, take care of this land, manage the land, sell it, build the houses in the land. So that means the title of that land for you is power of attorney. Very, very important document. So, yes. Okay. Yeah, because that land now, what matters now is if you're giving me the land, to me, I'm getting that. I'm not the owner of the land, I'm not buying the land from you. So you're just giving me the land to manage. So you can give me power of attorney and say, okay. And if people are asking me, I'm telling them, okay, Mr. John Obi gave me this land to manage and to take care of the land. So, but you now, let's say you want to now sell the land or do away with the land, You now will not be the one with the original document, whether CFO or governor's consent, but it means between us, just like an agreement we're having between us, that you are giving the power of Anthony for the land. So the next one, continue of that one is, it is noteworthy that the laws governing these land titles can be quite complex and frustrating. So it is very important that you understand the land ownership rights. Understanding those land titles will help any prospective landowner to avoid the risk of scams and bad investment experiences. So this is what all these things now, many years back when most of real estate companies are not available, when land was more of individual selling, individual from this month to this month, there were so many cases of land issues then. Every time people are going to court, every time people are fighting over land because of, I sold the land to you, and my brother came and said, no, you don't have to sell the land, give me the land back. So many problems used to happen then. But when these real estate companies came into existence and started operating, they made things easy because they were not the one in charge to secure everything, both titles. So all these things is one of the importance of real estate companies because they help you, make this whole process stress-free. You don't have so much stress acquiring any land. Because if you want to go direct, you'll be facing so many things, applying for documents and all that. So I said it earlier before I started, we have a short class, and then that is it for today. I'm done for my class. I'm with you, sir. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, I'm coming. Okay. Mhm. How do you go about it? Now, that's a very difficult situation, depending on the document of the land. Okay. Now, if depend, you have to ask yourself, what's the title of that land in that document? Because most times, even before you lose a document, you must know details about the land. Now, as far as there's nobody dragging the land with you, okay, nobody is fighting the land. The people know that you're the owner of the land. All you need to do is to go back to the government because the government has a record and apply for the land. Tell them your situation. They will have to provide the documents for you because most of this land you are seeing now, government knows that this is also man, this land, when they check their system and their record, know that this land is C of O. So if you lose your own documents, all you need to just go and apply again and they'll give you the certificate again because it's already stated there that you're the owner of the land in C of O title. You understand? So because you want to sell and your new buyer must ask you of the document, you need to go and get the document. That's all. But what is where is now somehow is when you are dragging the land with other people. With
how are we sure that the government can actually retrieve the document for the government? Really, things about the government securing this land, they don't actually, not all every document they
yes.
don't have letters. So I'm not pretty sure about retrieving that.
Okay. But it's very, very possible. I believe it's very, very possible. Okay. It's all about making inquiries more. Maybe from a surveyor, contact a surveyor. The surveyor will survey the land. You can even apply for the document. As far as it's not C of O, that means you cannot get a C of O again. Even governor's consent is there and all that. So, but you must have the document before you even say. So you will not enter issues. So all these things can be done through inquiries, maybe from surveyors and some of the people that work with land registry. I think it's easy to be obtained with that. So that's possible to do. That's very, very possible. Okay. Any other question?
To me, without how rich I am,
Mm.
I never go for my own CFO other than land insurance CFO.
No. As far as the land has C of O, you cannot go for C of O again. Because land, C of O is only given once. No, but you are still holding the C of O because the person will give it to you. Because you cannot buy a land from me, and my land is C of O, and then I will not give you the certificate. So that means you bought the land from me, and later I'll come and be claiming the land. No, it's not possible. I will give you the certificate of C of O. My name will be there. Now, but you have to use that C of O to go and meet the governor and apply for governor's consent in the office. Then the government is now aware that some land that belongs to me with certificate of occupancy has been transferred to you. So that it automatically means your land has both C of O and governor's consent. Yes, I'm not sure you can change the name. I'm not sure of that. But what I know that the governor's consent is what proof that you're the owner of the land, because that's the place to write that the land was transferred from Success to Mr. John, for instance, the governor's consent. So nobody can come and claim the land for you because you already have both the C of O and the governor's consent. You're making the government to be aware. Let's go back and let me show you that slide. You're making the government to be aware that, okay, now let's start from here. Look at what he said. Certificate of occupancy is an authorized document of grants issued by the state government to an individual, groups of individual or entity to confer ownership and rights of occupancy in a definite land for all purposes for a term not exceeding 99 years, subject to renewal. The certificate of occupancy is a document issued only once to the first person to own and purchase such land as virgin land. Therefore, this document prevents multiple owners from claiming ownership of that piece of land. The C of O is usually issued for all government lands, allocation and properties. So it doesn't. This thing now will prevent multiple owners, because now, let's say you have C of O of a land now, and then I come and bought the land from you. That is why I need to go and apply for governor's consent. Telling the government CEO, I've bought this land from a person. Now, peradventure somebody or a scammer is now coming to the picture to still go and apply for governor's consent to own the land. Government to tell him, no, so person is the owner of this land, not you. Because this land has been applied before. So you cannot come and be applying for this governor's consent again. I don't know if you're getting the picture of what I'm saying. So let's go to governor's consent. Let me explain to you what I mean now. Look at what it means. Look at it says. Governor's consent simply refers to the approval of the governor of every state of Nigeria of any transaction concerning land. It is an integral part of land transaction, as consent is usually required for perfection of any land transaction. The main purpose of obtaining a government's consent is so the government is aware that ownership of the land has been transferred to another person. So they will be aware that also land has been transferred to another person. This consent can be applied for and obtained multiple times, as many times as possession of such land is being handed over to multiple purchases over time. So if you bought the land from C of O person and apply for governor's consent, even if you want to sell, you have to give the person the C of O, your governor's consent. The person also going to apply again and change the name for his own. So this is how these things, yes, these are the things that are being changed. But C of O is only once. They cannot give you C of O again. So government consent will keep changing depending on how you are selling it or people that own the land with time. So governor's consent helps in the legalization of such property, as the government is made aware of the transfer of ownership rights. Therefore, as long as the consent is obtained by the buyer, the ownership rights will be properly secured. So as far as every buyer obtains that governor's consent, that's why it's very, very important, mostly in Lagos here. Mostly in the East, people don't have those kind of issues, but mostly in Lagos, you have to apply for, all this. So that's what we discussed about land titles. Okay.
Just learning these things.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't really know them. And they have constituted objections in the field. We are hearing sometimes about gazettes, we are hearing about exhibitions and so on. Now, is there any single document that is more important than the other?
Okay.
Or that all of this?
This is a very, very important question. Now, one thing I've discovered about these land titles is that it has level by level. And like I said earlier, most companies and most people, because of the title, determines the price of the land. Because before you apply for those status, you must have spent money applying for them, paying for this one, all those transport and all those stress. So that's why most of them increase the price. That is why mostly CFO is like one of the most expensive one. Because that one you must have applied. Because remember, I started with some stages. If you go to this decision, it means, okay, government have checked and said, okay, we have mapped out this area. We don't have any interest in this land. So you can do whatever you want to do. Now, you have a decision as a title of the property. But to go further, to make sure, okay, government has said, okay, you can look at what it's, okay, let me show you. Yeah, you're saying, okay, government has said they have assigned this land. It means government has released the parcel of the land that has been under global acquisition. The family of individual interested in such land can possess a government-approved decision, and the acquisition for the land can be possessed up to the governor's consent level. So it means you can increase the level of each land, the title. That's what I mean. You can increase the level. So what I mean is that government have seized and said, okay, we don't need this land, so proceed. This one now means it's like the first stage to now apply for any other thing you want to apply for. Exactly. So is this like the first, and this one happens mostly in big lands, real estate companies go for, because most of them are owned by communities. You understand? Now remember the first law that says all land are owned by government. 1978 law, land use, says all lands are owned by the government. So meaning, if all lands are owned by the government and the community is selling a land to you, you have to go and tell government, oh yeah, I want to buy this land. So government will now do the first process, which is decision, to just map out and check the land and say, okay, go ahead. We don't have any interest in the land. That means they have excised the land. Now the next one I talked about was the Gazette, which is Gazette is an official record book. Now this one comes in. Yes. No, content is still there. You understand? Now, but I'm just saying, having the official record step by step. Now, this one now is a record book that spells out all details of the expanse of a land that has been excised. Remember, the former one talked about. So that means you cannot go for Gazette until you have excised the land. So let's say we go to the government and say, okay, I want to Gazette, I want you to give me the title. Gazette, they'll ask you, okay, has the land been excised? I believe all those things has processes whereby they will check their system, all those things, one after the other. So now, look at what it says, excise and giving back to the community. So that means, excision means government will say, okay, this land, now we get them normal, and we get every land. So, but now let's excise it. We don't have any interest, so you people should take it back. Do whatever you want to do. So now this Gazette is not the next document. It's a record book that is proving that the decision has been made. Okay, so the details include the name of the community and the details of the response and land giving decision. Now, this decision document is usually taken to the Surveyor General's office for the land to be gazetted. With the gazetted, a person can apply for certificate of occupancy. So it means before you apply for governor's consent or certificate of occupancy, you need to know that if the land is gazetted yet first. There must be a record book of that land first that has been excised, then gazetted. Before you now apply for certificate of occupancy, which now looks like the highest one. That means, oh, this is a certificate of occupancy. Meaning, if you process only with a cession, it's not guaranteed 100% that you can now proceed with the land. It means government can come back and say, okay, this land we gave to you, we have interest again now. Okay, so now I believe that certificate of occupancy, even if government has heavy interest or heavy need, they negotiate with you and compensate you. Many people have done that to many people. Government needed the land, very, very important to them, maybe for road or something. They have to compensate you. But if you don't have all these documents, let's say you just bought the land like that, they can pull out everything. They don't care. That's why this document is so important. So remember the example I gave to you. Now, if you now apply for a certificate of occupancy, which is CFO, and that means, remember, it can only be issued once. Because that means, it means from accession to gazetted to now CFO. They have gone through some processes. So it means that CFO can only be issued once to a particular person. Now, if now the owner determines to sell it, that is when the new buyer, because you cannot be holding somebody's document that is bearing the person's name and continue like that. The person can come back and say, "You not give me any money. You will not do any transaction." So you are holding my certificate and the name is there. They can, because when you go to the court, they'll ask you, "Did you apply for governor's consent? Is the government aware that you bought the land from them?" So you not going for governor's consent means you're making the government to be aware that CEO, I bought this land from this person that owns CFO. So they're giving you own certificates again. That means governor's consent. Means you're not the owner of the land. Okay, because both parties has to be involved and agreed on that particular governor's consent. So this is where the buyer needs to come in to apply for governor's consent to own the land.
One other thing I want to be clear.
Okay.
Now, after the excision,
Mm-hmm.
the government has apportioned that land back to the community.
Yes.
Now, do I still have anything to fear about family wahala? Because the community build families.
Mm-hmm.
And then the family now says, okay, this land, you take it. Do I still have concern about one family coming to say, no, this particular family?
That is why all these issues mostly comes up where there are scarcity of land and many people involved in the land. That's why we have most of these things in Lagos problem. You understand? Sometimes in East, people sell land just by agreement. Don't even need to sign anything. Just by agreement they had. Just normal talk. Take the land. It's taken. In the East, most of our forefathers dash people land just by words.
Yes.
Not by any signage. I can remember in my village, there are people that my grandfather gave land. They're not from our community. But those that he said that you people should take this land, he gave it to them. You understand? So now once, there was even one I knew. My grandfather gave the land. He told them, you people should cultivate this land, crop on this land, plant on this land until you are tired. Then you can give me back. So it means he just gave them maybe a kind of assurance. Anything you want to do with the land, continue. But whenever you are tired, I'll take it back. So it means their fathers, their grandchildren will visit until they're like, no, don't need it again. So now, that is why if community gives you a land, that means first of all, land has been excised from the government. You must have asked the government, because community can just come and give you a land. And before you proceed with that land, you need to go and check the government record first. Survey the land, and know that government has interest in the land. Because government interest in the land might be in the next 20 years. It's important. I believe it's important. But you don't know tomorrow. So now, it's not as if you have any issue with the community, because you can be okay. But it's important to now just proceed with all the documents to make sure you're just okay. Like you don't have any wahala again to face in the future. You understand? You're just okay. Mostly in the East, all you need is just survey plan. In the East, that's all you need. Because survey plan will just mean that the government will check from the record, they'll survey the measurement of the land and check, do we have anything to do with this land? If no, proceed. Very, very okay. That's why. Yes. East doesn't have issue with all these certificate of occupancy. They don't have those things. They don't have wahala with those things. Once you have registered survey plan, it means this land, they have surveyed it, they have checked the measurements, and they have stamped it for you to go ahead. We are okay with that in the East. Okay? So yes. Like the last time we were applying for Enugu phase 2, the first title there was certificate of occupancy. Because the owner, that was what the title he had. But because he was not done with the documents, we did not pursue the land. I think they were applying for it and all that. So because he was not done with the document, we could not, Mr. Dixon said we can't be writing certificate of occupancy. And when you're asking for the certificate, we can't give it to you. So we have to pause that process. We still go back to that land. So in the East, they still have people that have gone to the extent of applying for CFO. So maybe I believe because of money to pay all those things, because you have to pay money before you apply for those things. So maybe some people are just looking at, let me just leave it, it's not important yet. So, but at least you must have a survey. You must make sure the land is free from government first. Exactly. From government first. There's no interest there first, before you now proceed maybe other documents. Okay? So sorry, to answer your question, sir, because even you go into the family, you must have been observing things. If you know that so land, I want to give you a headache in the future. It's better you finish all your documents. If they like, let them shut up and down and scatter things. They cannot take the land from you because you have that document. You can sue them and you win. Because when you sue people to court concerning land, the person that wins is people that have the document. It's not about people that the father give it to. Do you have the document? That is why in our world now, if you like, let your father give you land, go and register it. Go and have all the documents you need to have. So I just be free. Because if you are claiming it's my father that gave it to me, you don't have any document to prove that. That's a problem. That's a problem. So you're saying something?
Yes, like another distinction in this issue of certificates, all these titles, especially CFO, is the security of the land.
Okay.
And again, the value. You cannot expect a land that has CFO to be sold the same amount to the one that has the asset.
Exactly.
And if you apply for a loan, the bank or the individual planting you that loan will ask you what is the title. If
Okay.
it's CFO, it's just straight to grant you that loan. So
Because that's what I'm saying. Because for instance, now, like, I don't know. I've not really researched how much they spend on all these things. Let's say for Gazette now, if you're paying like maybe 50K to the government to get the documents for Gazette, and or maybe survey plan other ones for CFO, there must be money because you remember you cannot even go straight for CFO. You have to go to the small step before it. So you'll be spending money. That is why by the time you now arrive there, you have to sell the land expensive because it's not anybody buying the land now doesn't need too much headache. Just go for governor's consent. That's all. That's why people most times you see that land is expensive and high because it's CFO. Now there's something most companies does, some mistake even we realtors do. You see, and mostly you see it in Lagos. After you see land, they'll tell you the land is proposed accession. That's not a good title. No. Now, sometimes even CFO in progress is considerate. Okay, that means he actually had some documents before CFO. They are now applying for CFO. So most companies that just drive people to buy. Now, but you see all these things that you see proposed accession or proposed gazette. If it's me, I'll wait till you are done. Once you give me the main title, I'll continue. I don't want to enter something you are still proposing. And let's say, what if government rejects it? Because some people are marketing land that is proposed accession, meaning government has not said go ahead. We don't have any interest. So what if I now invest my 2 million naira, my 3 million naira in the land, and government is telling me they have a purpose in the land? We'll not start fighting for the funding. It's not a good process. It's a hectic one. Some people just see and enter. No. Make sure it's better. That's why I see plats. I respect this company for so many things. We still selling the land in phase 2 Enugu. We still marketing the land. We've done some clearing. Now, because a particular document we are marketing, which is CFO, has not yet finally been approved, we have to pause that land. We don't want to have an issue with anybody tomorrow. Because people can sue you for this. You told me it's CFO. Why is it not CFO again? So make sure everything you're doing is transparent. It's better you lose that money than you get the money and enter Wahala in the future. So that's why we don't do all these stuff. That's why we don't do all these stuff. So, yes.
Like if I have 4 plots of land
Okay.
in an area, I decide to sell a plot. What documents now will I give to buyer?
Now, depending on the because even the plot of lands, all of them have the documents, the title. I'm not sure it's not by one plot. It's by they'll calculate all the plots you have there. Maybe from survey, because survey will measure everything. Then if you're selling one plot of land, you still give the person the title of the land. So if that whole land is CFO, the person will still have CFO. If you are getting me, if that whole land is survey plan and it's 4 plots, you cannot come and be telling the person, oh yeah, your own is gazetted or accession. Because when they were marking the land for you, everything was done once.
I have 4 plots. I'm selling out.
One, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That 4 plots you have, when you are applying for the document of the land, did you apply for the 4 plots? If yes, that means everything is still the same thing. Are you getting my picture? Let's say, for instance, now you have 4 plots of land now, and you apply for everything was C of O. Even if you want to say to somebody, that person still have C of O. But that, yes, but that person will now have to apply for governor's consent, telling that I bought 1 plot of land from so man, and the title is C of O. Like you cannot come and just extract that one and give it a different title. Except maybe you had 4 plots, and maybe the one you applied for everything was 1 plot. Meaning the other 3 plots is still normal granted or survey plan or any other deed of assignment or any other title. If you're getting the picture, that means if you're selling that one, you still have to sell it with the title. Because let's say you have 20 plots of land now, like C-Plat now. If C-Plat has, like I think Enugu have up to phase 2, I think phase 2 up to 80 plots in the land in phase 2. Every of that plot will still get the title of the land. Because they are applying for all of them. From the survey plan, they'll measure it and say, okay, you have 80 plots of land here, blah, 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 everything. So even if C-Plat is selling 1 plot, the title there is survey plan, for instance, or C of O, for instance. So it's not as if that except C-Plat only applied for 40. Let's say, okay, for instance, now, C-Plat can process and say, okay, let's divide this land and apply for C of O of 40. And then leave 40 for survey plan, for instance, or anything. C-Plat can tell you, for the one of survey plan is 2 million, C of O is 5 million. Depending on how they process it. Now, it doesn't even really mean you must have issue. But just to have that certificate or all those power, normal papers. That's like the way we have normal HND, we have PhD, we have BSc. So most of these things determines how people are being paid their salary. It's not because of what they know, it's just because of the certificate. Now, because remember, they spent money going for that school. They spent money paying for school fees. They spent years. So they deserve that extra honor. Because most people that are carrying PhD, normal OND people will know something more than them. I get in the picture here. OND people, students, might be more intelligent than the PhD holder. But the PhD holder is paid higher because of that process is not an easy process. The years you spent in school, the money, all those money you spent, even your school fees, is already a PhD holder. So a company can say, okay, let's pay you 300K because you're a PhD holder. But the OND person is being paid 70K because it's OND. I get in the picture. So, but it doesn't mean the OND person is not doing well. And that is why even the world is changing rapidly now. The world is changing very, very fast. People mostly don't really care about that again because of the skills involved now. Because our days now is no longer days of, let's say, educational system of primary school, secondary school. Those are, in primary school, you have some teachers there. Headmaster maybe must have maybe a PSc or PhD. But before you become principal, higher certificates. So they keep promoting you based on your certificate. But now, in our world these days now, most people don't even care about certificates. What they care is your sabi certificate. What do you know? And that's why we have all these skills. There's some people that did not even go to university, but they have some computer skills, they have some, software skills, and they are paid heavy money because of the skills they have, not because of the certificate they read in school. So something that document stuff. So as far as your 4 plots was registered, if all of them have the same title, if you're selling to somebody else, that 1 plot you're giving to that person will still have that title. Okay, explain. Yeah. Okay.
On this stage or the stages,
Mm-hmm.
the buyer will have to
Okay.
it has a silver.
Okay, now I understand you.
Chapman that is now trying for me.
The buyer will go to stages of where you stopped, depending on his or her own interest. Let me give an instance that you have a land, maybe just a family land, they give it to you, maybe in your village. And the only thing about the land that you have checked is just a seized or gazetted, for instance. So government have checked and mapped out and said, okay, you're good to go. Now, a new buyer can still buy the land from you with that same title. Because, of course, you can buy the land there's a size, that's all. Now, that new buyer now will not be the one to continue from where you stopped to apply to maybe C of O. Because you still give him a document There still be an agreement showing document that you've bought the land. So the person will not be the one to apply for maybe CFO, governor's consent, and all that. It doesn't mean it's left for you to do. The main thing is that, do you know some people even take land by wayo, they not pay anything. And they went and apply for everything they need to apply for, and they're owners of that land automatically. Because they went to apply for those things. And when they were applying, they checked the record. Nobody owns the land from the record. I don't know if you're getting the picture. Yes. For instance, now, even that plot of land now, you can even dash me one by dash. You did not give me any documents, and there's no documents proving that you own the land. You just dash me. If I take up that land and go and register it, apply for every document, and have maybe CFO or survey plan, that land, when they're checking that land, I will not be the rightful owner of that land. Even if you are calling me back and say, give me back my land, I can't give you back your land. If you like, shout. If you like, as far as the document is showing that. So except we'll come again and assign an idea and say, take it back. And then you still have to go and apply for governor's consent, telling government that, this guy gave me my land back. You get in the picture. So the person will continue from where you stop. If the land is no document at all, it means the person that bought the land will still go and apply for every document stage by stage to make sure that this land belongs to me. I won't have any future problem about the land. I don't know if I've answered your question. If you are still confused. So that's what it means. So I can actually buy a land from you no matter the title, as far as I'm okay with it. But what I need to know this title is just for you to understand their level, understand what they can do for you. Like in the East now, survey plan is good to go. You don't have any issue disturbing your life with CFO or whatever. But survey plan is good to go, because survey plan means from the community or whatever, they have surveyed the land. They have, like simple, they'll go to the government office, they'll check out the whole land, check the area, measure it. So it's good to go. So that's why they'll give you other documents like deed of assignments, contract of sale, all those proof of ownership.
Which means, if I have this cost of land is and I send back one plus, the buyer now have to go and register
Government's consent.
Go and survey land.
No, because even
That surveillance, the plot.
Yeah, okay, that particular one plot, yes, they still, the buyer will have to go and survey that one plot, because they'll map out the measurements now and everything and register it. That's what, yes, that for that 4 plots, because it's coming out from that 4 plots. Exactly. This land to this person. But that person needs to also go for governor's consent if they want to proceed, depending on the location and the kind of people they are dealing with. Because normally in the East, deed of assignment is okay. You have, let's say for instance, T-Plat now will give you deed of assignments, showing that, okay, we have 80 plots. We gave you one because you bought from us, and you still have your survey plan and everything. You understand? So deed of assignment show that, okay, we have given this social man this land, he has paid for this land, look at the document, look at how many plots he bought. That's your own deed of assignment. You have your own contract. Because if government wants to come into that estate, the first name they are seeing is T-Plat of Vatican Garden Estate. They're the developers of the land. So now, to each plot, will now shows the owners of each plot. Are you getting the point from deed of assignment? So, but the general land, they will say, it's T-Plat that is developing the land. It's an estate. That's why most times estate is so organized. If there's a way you buy land from a particular good company now, even if that one wants to have issue, it's not your own headache. It's the company's headache. Because it's the company that has to do with anything that has to do with government. Government cannot come to you now and say, Oga, you are staying in our land. They'll go to the company. So company will be the one to make sure you're comfortable, make sure they compensate you or whatever. So, but that is why, to avoid all this stress, make sure you are buying from a company that is transparent, whatever they are doing. I was giving an instance of what happened in Asaba Phase 2. Government came there and was mapping out land that belongs to them. They map out even people's estates. Were our own, they're not near our own. Because when we were discussing that, I was in the meeting, I think it was last week Friday, yes. When we did the lunch, after the lunch, we came back and we were having staff meeting in Enugu head office. So the Asaba manager was discussing what happened there. And Mr. Dixon said, yes, that they went to the government, they went to the surveyor's office. They were seeing all those land from the system. They were seeing all those maps, all those land, everything from their system. So they went the man and told him, you can go ahead with this one. It means There's nothing like government interest there or come and be dragging it with you. Everything has been settled. So even if government, for instance, even if government have interest, government can tell you, okay, we don't have interest, just give us money. Maybe pay social amount, continue with what you're doing. They give the document, it means you are free to go ahead. Because most people just go to land and boom, continue. And government will come to them and tell you, say, this land was mapped out for airport. That means you are gone and they'll not even compensate you. But remember what I said. That means, let's say, even if you acquire a land and the government wants to do something with that land, they have to come to you. They have to compensate you. They have to pay you because you have the document of the land before it was not in their plan. So let's say it's not in their. You know, there's some people that they are listening to the government. Like most people, government is renting their properties for their office. Some government office now is renting individual. They are paying individual the rent because we cannot take it by force. You have all those documents for the land. So that is why all these things are important. You know, very, very important. So any other question before I call it a day? It's a good title.
So even if so no need for seal.
No, I believe before you go for governor's consent, there's CFO already.
Okay. So you have said the land that is only government.
That's what I'm saying. You cannot even send a land because no, governor's consent means that land was CFO before from a particular individual or a person. So you go for governor's consent means because that document of CFO is bearing that person's name, the original name. Because yes, because CFO can only be issued once. They cannot give you 2 times. I cannot give you CFO now, and then you sell the land to me. They'll not come and give me CFO again. No, because that particular bearing that name, because that particular CFO will stay for 99 years. That particular land belongs to me for 99 years. So it means after 99 years, government will come back and say, okay, I'll stay our land. So you have to apply again. Are you getting the picture now? Yes. You have to apply again. So now it means if a particular company bought a land that is CFO, maybe from a family or an individual, that company will now go for governor's consent. The government will be aware that so company or so person has bought this land from this particular person. So the CFO is showing Mr. John Obi, but the governor's consent is showing Emeka got this land from Mr. John Obi. So government is aware. So even that John Obi cannot come and claim that land back because that person have applied for governor's consent, showing that I'm the owner of this land now, because both of them will still sign and agree. I'm selling to this person, is buying from me. Both of them will sign. So that's why once you see governor's consent, it means there is CFO already.
Now solve our problem.
Okay.
I don't want to get the land that's out of action. I asked how much. Say, power of action means that land, the person that is selling the land have won the case concerning that land. That is why they gave him power of action, because maybe he has money to sort out court cases. So then the person that is having the case with the land can come up tomorrow. Maybe he has money to go to Supreme Court because of that land. If he wins the case concerning the land,
you take it back. Well, that's a difficult question for me to answer. Now let me go back to the power of Anthony. Now I'll tell you why it's a difficult question for me to answer, because people can make assumption and some things. No, but remember, like I said, if you go to some documents about land, you will see there's even some of them they are bearing court title. Now, meaning there have been some disputes about the land. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Irrevocable. So most times when you see power of attorney, it means it's even irrevocable, most of them. Now, but remember that from those court documents, you can now proceed to governor's consent. Telling governor, remember we had this land issue in the court and I won the case. So now I need your consent that I'm the owner of this land. If you're getting the picture. So that's why all those things come stage by stage. So even if you come back again, because I now have governor's consent, Because anything can happen tomorrow. You now want to claim that okay, you don't have power then, or you don't have money then. Because forget about money too. Most times, there are some things they need to look into, some basic stuff they need to look into before anybody wins a case. Because let's say I don't Nigerian government too, but let's say you have too much money, but yet it's still evident that you're not the owner of the land. Like by all means, that's fraud to give you that land. So even if you have money, there will still be some things you look at and say this guy is owner of this land, no matter what. I think you're getting the picture. What I mean that thing does not stop there. There are still other documents they apply for, like the governor's consent and other stuff. But look at what he's saying. Power of Anthony, from my own definition of this class, was saying it's a legal document transferring to a legal right to the attorney or an agent to manage and assess the principal's property in the event the principal is unable to do so themselves. For instance, now, some community can come and say, some community can go to the court, or family can go to the court and say, see, this land is our land, but we don't want to do anything with this land. We have agreed with some man to take over this land and manage it, maybe build and sell. So to give the man power of attorney and say you have the power now to continue with this land. I don't know if you understand. So this is why, but all these things most times, like all these things we said now, all these things have more headache mainly in Lagos and all this area. East is the only issue you have in Eastland is family. If you can settle with family, you are good to go. That is why you cannot don't ever buy land in the East. If it's not an estate now, I'm talking about individual land, until you must have asked every family member. Hey, should I proceed?
Most people prefer the power of attorney in the sense that they believe that land cases, land usually has cases.
Yes.
So if a case arises, the attorney will take care of it.
They have the power.
So in my own case, I don't blame the person who said you cannot market it.
Of course, depending on understanding, yes.
Because anybody can be given the power of attorney. As I am, I'm an agent, I can be given the power of attorney to market a particular product. That does not mean that I'm the
of course. Okay.
Because that they have the right to say this as him.
Well, everything still has to do with, because now he's still away. Let me give an instance now. Power of attorney also simply means maybe the family member is behind you like this, but they are seeing you, they're not seeing family member. But it also means family member will come and tell you, how far now? You do let us sell the land. Okay, how much? 2 million. Okay, no, I'll continue. Because it means you that is a marketer or you that is a developer is still in touch with the owner or the family of the land. You're getting the point. So it's not as if any person can just come up and say they are giving me power. When nobody give you power, that day they'll push you out. That day they'll push you out. So,
as I said before, that most of us are not in the past, I felt that once you have one of these titles, that was the ultimate. And that is the understanding of so many people. Not knowing that this is just a continuation of the process of registration.
yes.
When you have the power of attorney and you are still going to seek for
Other documents, just to make sure you are okay. So all these things are very, very important. Just for instance now, something happened. I think one time in our family, we're about to expand our compound to buy a particular portion of land. And the owner of the land, which is the father, we went to meet him. I think it was half plot or something. Now, that small half plot, we have to consult every family member. I mean, the man's children. So it's not as if only the firstborn will say, go ahead. We'll call the second born, even if it's abroad. They want to sell this land, though, should we go ahead? Third born, no matter where they are, all of them must give their and say, yes, we agreed. So you don't go and buy land. Tomorrow, another person will fly back and say, lie, my own land. So that's the only issue you have in the East. And that is why companies that go to the East to develop land, they have to start with the family first. Like, I think Mr. Jason have said something like that. He said he doesn't go, once he goes there and he sees that the family are not united, in the run. He doesn't want that kind of issue of, we're not in support of this land, we're not in support of this selling. No. You must make sure that the family is in support of everything. And that means you are good to go. So it's always family in Lagos, in the East. But in Lagos, you can be having 10 people dragging one land. They sold it to me, blah, 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 blah. No. But South East is more peaceful. Just a survey plan, you are good to go. There's most people. Okay. Mhm.
Like you should say, all land belong to
Government, yes.
Is it the state, the federal, or the local?
And my brother, they say all land. All is all, both local, both your village own.
Which of the government that owns has the sole owner?
Every like even governments still have level by level now. We have local government, we have state government, and we have federal government. So, but normally it's state because this is your state. I don't know if you understand. Now, federal government will come in because federal government has their own projects too. So, because but before any federal government comes in, they consult the state government. For instance, now there's a federal that needs to be the governor of that state to be aware. Even presidents cannot enter any state without the governor's consent of that state. But they said government, so government means every government. But they can come and say, Sanwo-Olu, we need this land in your state. But Bori cannot just come and take over that land without consulting Sanwo-Olu.
And some of them must grant him that right.
But
Otherwise, he cannot do it.
no, Sanwo-Olu cannot even argue it. They have to be settled. I don't know that's what I'm saying now. What I mean by argue does not mean no, it's not possible. Sir. No. I mean, you tell him, okay, sir, look at the plan for this land before. But everything has to be by power, by power. What I mean by that is someone who cannot say, no, it's not possible. They will still have to agree peacefully. Look at why we need this land. Okay, they'll tell you, can we look at this other place? But I mean, even presidents now cannot come into Lagos without someone's approval and say, okay, you're allowed to come. You understand? So government means is government. So both local government, village government is government. But everything now has to do with hierarchy and the purpose of the land. Law. Land Act. Let's be verified with that. Let's be verified with that. Me, I don't have any issue with that. Because all I know is that federal government cannot come to take over anything until they consult the state government. So then I say, it says, this is accordance with the Land Use Act 17. It says the first important thing to know that every land is owned by the state government. So you're right. This is in accordance with. So, but even if federal government wants to do something, they still consult the states. Yes. So because everything is divided now, states, Imo states have their own state government. It's not ruled by Buhari. They have a governor there. Most things will not be blamed to Buhari, it will be blamed to the governor. So, but it's seen by high rank and all that. It's still government. So, but state government just means they're trying to make it little like your own zone. Your own zone. Because now, you know that, for instance, that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean by that zone. Now. You know, for instance, now, you can be the president of this country. It doesn't mean you have gone to all the whole country. It doesn't mean you have gone to all the whole states. It doesn't mean you know every state. It doesn't mean you know every village. We are the president. So it means even if you want to come to a state like Owerri, I mean a place like Owerri in Imo State, it's the governor that will take you to Owerri because the governor is now the one in charge of that area. He knows Owerri more than you. If you're getting the picture of what I'm saying. So that's why they say it's state government, meaning you cannot be talking about a land in Enugu now. Let's say a land in Apoga or Eneme in Enugu, and federal government wants to be aware. Like they have to have somebody in charge of that place. I don't know if you're getting what I'm saying. There has to be somebody that person is the one that knows everything about that area because it's their own local area. I wish I can explain this thing. Mm-hmm.
The federal government does not have that sole right to invade into any land.
Of course.
Without the concept of the AMAC and the Abuja Municipal Area Council.
That was why I gave you an instance that even the president cannot enter any states without informing the governor. So if in such simple issue, what about issues of land? So federal government cannot just take over any land without the state government approving it. That's what I mean by that. So it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. We want local government say have to go to state government. So that because sometimes some of all these villages now they have local governments that will survey everything. So from local government, state government. So everything has levels by levels. Okay, and for people that came late, you have to go and watch our stream online. We cannot be going back for everything. I believe this class was educative and informative. And then thank you. Last week Friday we were not here because we had launching in Vatican Garden Estate Phase 2. It's a wonderful place to be that needs an investor mentality. What I mean by investor mentality is you need to have investor mentality before you invest. It's a very what I saw there. Now, as I was going there, normally as a natural man, I was like, here is deep, here is foul. Now, but they began to show me things there that opened my eyes. Let me tell you, there's a neighborhood there. There's a neighborhood there called Nigerian Army Pension something. Pensions exactly. The land was so big, they have fenced it. So it can be from here to Agora roundabout. Agora was even small. So long. And there was so many other estates there that they even sold out. Like even before you get land, there's even war. The estate has been sold out. So that place, because the one man was telling me that Enugu focused mostly earlier on the capital. So they have so many people just living in that Enugu capital. It's not like Lagos where you have people living in Lekki, Aja. People just focus on that Ikeja. That's what happened in Enugu. So now people are now moving. Estates now moving out, bringing people out from that whole other area. That's why we have like Cincinnati City, the phase 1. We have phase 1. I could remember the first time I went to phase 1 to document it. We got to a particular point and we parked the car. We have to pass one small bush, walk before we enter our estate. Even me then, I was like, oh, here is the bush. But people of God, I went there last week, Saturday. Hey, I will be showing you the videos. Maybe when we copy the videos. That place is a massive city now. I am telling you. People are already living in that area. That phase 1 now, the first amount they sold that place was 3 million, 3.5, 5 million, 5.5. Now, the last one they sold, it was sold last for 8 million naira. But now, the phase 1. Now, but now the worth of that place now is 10 million naira. I mean, in our own land. Other people are even selling 15. That place is, the one that shocked me so much, it was when we were coming back. I saw a mall, a business mall. People have already entered some shops there, started doing in the phase 1, and started doing business. I was screaming, I said, they have a mall now here. He said, stay there now. Because people are already seeing vision of how the place is going to troop in. So this is one thing about investment. So most people are always discouraged. They'll be like, yeah, it's still bush, yeah, it's still deep. But it's all about what's the future of this place in the next 5 years. And remember, that's why it's even cheap. But they say buy the future when it is cheap. Because most people will be like, no, that place will not develop now. That is why it's called investment. You can give it 3 years. Because the land you bought for 2 million naira cannot remain 2 million in the next 3 years. It's not possible. It cannot. Because development will keep going on. That in that same estate area, I saw another company. If you see the massive land they cleared. Yes, the phase 2 now we're marketing now. If you see showing that these people have seen things, they have seen the movement. That's one thing about estate. If you see movements, go there ahead of time. No, it's not M&A. It's you see the location in the videos. Yes, but the major striking neighborhood there is NNPC depot, which I saw it. It's close to the place. See that same which I still saw it. So from that Abakaliki Enugu, I think we have to enter the road to that place. So, where is the Enugu State Housing? I'm not in the place. I'm not in the place locally. But all those things I saw when we were driving there from the road, it was not that far. Yes, NNPC. That's the main place. So all those places are still coming up. So just the same way, Cincinnati City. That's the thing, like you said, in Gamokono distance. What I'm saying is not far. I'm telling you, it's not far from that NPC depot. That NPC depot is the closest Please, apart from other estates close to that place too. Like that one I talked about, that Nigerian pension, army pension, something. That one is too big. Only that one alone can drive the development in that place. Because once they start, there's some estates that have their estate gates there already. So once they start bidding in that particular army pension or whatever, that's a heavy development. So I was seeing movement. I was seeing heavy movement. Companies claim, there are companies that claim massive land, massive one. All in this place. So that's the future. That what I saw, because after that Friday, the next day, I and Coach Park and Mr. Dixon went to phase 1. What I saw in phase 1 opened my eyes. I'm telling you, because I was in phase 1 before. I knew how it was. And even when I came there, they were even telling me it's even developed then. But in my eyes, it was like, it's still coming up. But they were even telling me, based on their, Mr. Dixon told me that place was a forest before. The phase 1 of Enugu, he told me, when I went with him, with the first place we wanted to market, the enemy owned, but I was the one that went with him the first time to check the land. When I went with him, I told him, when he asked me, so sir, this place, me with my small eyes then, I told him, nah, sir, it's good. Well, it's still this small until we clear road. What I told him is that until we clear road, he laughed. He told me and said, you don't even know how phase 1 was before. Phase 1 was thicker. It was like a forest. But now that phase 1, we'll show you the video very soon. That phase 1, if you see what I saw there, that's like the new city. People, because they have an estate people are living for a long time. The Jidaya estate. The Jidaya estate, yes, it's a massive estate. People have been living in that one for a very, very long time. So, but now I was now seeing other estate I saw last year that was still coming. People are not living there. They have finished their bidding, living there. So this is how these things comes up. Boom, boom. In our estate, we have that phase 1, we have many buildings going on there. More than 7. We already have 2 massive duplex in that estate in phase 1. Big one. They have finished the roofing. I'll show you the video. Coach Park was even there. So now, one of the videos we're going to do about that estate is comparing it and telling you if you miss phase 1, that was a bush before. And I know the days we were marketing phase 1 at Primatex Plaza. It was only just normal land clearing we did. But now, it's a massive. Yes, the Bugalo is coming. I saw the plot there. Even this Bugalo said, the way I'm seeing things, except maybe if somebody buys, because we are saying off plan. So if somebody buys quickly, that will be profitable to that person. Because if they wait and other bills rise there, other things go on there to be more expensive. Just like I was seeing, I saw a particular portion of land that is empty at Greenfield Estate in Agoye. I look at the land and I smiled. I just smiled. You know why I'm smiling? Yes, Greenfield Estate in Agoye. You know why I'm smiling? I said, if anybody wants to buy this land now, you will know how much you will pay. But that land might be bought for 500K those days. But because the person was holding the land, just leaving it. Some people will just buy land and ignore it. As far as it's based on the companies, they agree for you for that. So people are just holding land. If you want to buy land there, because people will beg you, let me buy. Massive money. That's one thing about this whole real estate stuff. Real estate stuff. If it's me, I think this is one thing CPAT will be doing too. CPAT might even buy a particular portion of land they will develop. They might even reserve like 5. Let's leave this one. In that future, we'll sell it. Because people will not be begging you, let's buy. So yesterday, I was telling a particular realtors for a company. One company, I was telling the realtors, and I said something. There are so many ways you can market real estate professionally and have results beyond what other people are doing. Now, I was saying, let me say in the aspect, let's say you're in Lagos, you're marketing lands in Lagos. And let's say in the aspect of most estates that have commercial areas. Okay? I got an idea yesterday, which is a very powerful idea. Now, some of us, maybe in our church or village or community or anywhere, maybe neighborhood, some people who are wealthy people, who are business people. Some of them own supermarkets. Some of them own fast food. Some of them own shopping. Some of them owns hotels. Now, when you are marketing an estate that has commercial area, do you know you can go and get the layout of that estate from the company and consult, let's say, a 3D artist, a video editor, like us, people have in the company here, you pay them, you have to pay them a huge amount of money. Sometimes some of them can charge you 50K, 100K, or depending on the person, maybe 20K. And you create a 3D layout of that commercial area. Now, let's say you don't have the person to create the hotel for you. Let's say like 2-story building hotel or 3-story building hotel, and put the name of that man hotel there. And you go and meet that man, package yourself very, very well. Go there and show him the video. And tell him, so look at this land we are marketing now. In the next 5 years, your hotel can be in this estate. Now, you're already showing the man or the woman a picture of the future that is possible if the person invests and they have the money to invest. Because many of them are just saying bush. They're like, I don't have interest. I don't want to buy. But when you are, just imagine now an estate like Greenfield Estate, for instance, in Agona, that's also developed. Now, before it was a forest, before it was a bush. So imagine somebody bought a land there in the commercial area for hotel, and they enter the estate, the only hotel there. You are making your own money already. Or you're the only supermarket there, or the only fast food. Because most of all these companies are saying, like banks, though they're opening their eyes now, like banks, fast food, they used to buy land expensive because they started their business maybe that particular time, and they want to make sure they have office there. Have you not seen banks? Most banks are under rentage. Hope you know.
Yes.
They're under rentage. Most fast food are under rentage, but they will build massive building there, but it's not their own. You understand? So both of these people, if you can show them the future that is possible in the next 5 years, just small 5 years, open your eyes and close your eyes. 5 years orange. I knew how many years. Just imagine Buhari was staying in this country for 8 years as a president. When did he enter? I knew when he entered. That's how life grows fast. So if you show them that kind of picture and say, sir, do you know your supermarkets can be in this estate in the next 5 years? Yes, it's still a bush now. People are not building yet, but the next people start building. Let me give an instance now. Let's say you bought a particular land now, maybe in Aja, and it's an estate, and you're living there. Now, do you know that until that estate is developed, you have to drive out to buy something? Are you aware? So it's stressful. But imagine somebody that saw the future, and as you are doing your own, he's doing his own. As you are building his building, and before you park into the house, you already have a supermarket there. It means you have no other choice to buy something else than to go there. So that's buying the future cheap. Because if that so-called man or woman wants to come into that estate when people are not living there, it will be expensive. So these are the things, these are the ideas you can show some commercial people, some businessmen, and guide them. So because most times it's all about seeing the future. I'm telling you, my experience with CPLAT so far has opened my eyes. As it stands now, I was telling somebody that I'm praying for God to give me money. I said, even if it's forest, I'll go and buy. I don't care. As far as now, ask me a question now. Do I need the land to stay alive? No. Will the land kill me if I buy it? No. So let me buy it if I have the money then. It doesn't cost me anything. It's not about my money. So buy it and forget about it. Don't be thinking, no, forget about it. You've already bought the future cheap. Because the land there is not crypto. It's not like Bitcoin. It's not like any other, even Nigerian coins is falling every day by day. Something you bought for 50K today, they'll tell you 60K the next month. You ask them why, they tell you $1. So currencies are failing. Now imagine what's happening in Ukraine now. Only that thing in Ukraine now is pulling down the financial system. That war. This thing, their money now will fall to zero. Their money now will fall. Every investment there, even crypto, is affecting Bitcoin. It's coming down. But land, if you like, throw bomb there. After, I'll still come and pour sand and continue around. Once you're done with your war. I don't know something about land. If you like, throw bomb, let the bomb scatter the place. In the next 10 years, we'll still come and pour sand there and build our house. When everywhere is peaceful. So you're not scared of anything about land. As far as you have. Of course. Because when you're running away with your documents. Except government is coming to claim ownership of the place again. That's the only thing. Exactly.
You look at places like Hiroshima now, you know that these were places that were only wiped out during the Second World War.
Exactly.
Go there now, I mean,
So all these things are possible. So it shows that this real estate investment is actually the safest place. It's all about, see, even if it means buying a land of 200K in your village, still buy. I want to assure you, in the next 3 years, you will not see that land for 200K, even in your village. The day we went to buy our backyard, I was when my eyes open. I said, in this village, people selling this land is this also amount. I was in my village too. So you might be saying, no, it's a village. That same village is still expensive as far as it's land. Dubai is even covering their waters to have land. They are filling what massive seas. They are covering it with sand to build because there's no space. Dubai, you are seeing now, it was water, it was desert before. They were covering, they keep covering. They will make sure they sand fill everything and build. So you that have land now, if you have 1 naira, even if it's 100K, buy, forget about it. As even if some people have piece of land, some people have plots of land, some people have acres of land, some people have hectares. Even if it's piece, buy piece. Yes. Even if it's piece, buy piece. Have that piece. As a matter of fact, now, if it's possible that in this Lagos now, they will ask me, "I buy this place where your bed will be." That means I'm not paying rent again for my bed. I'll buy if I have the money. I'm telling you, I'll buy. It's still better for me to buy. I'll buy than paying rent. Okay, so thank you so much for coming around. Keep in touch with us. Within the week, we'll post the trailer of the estate launch so you can send to people. And I'm creating a particular video, like I said, to combine the phase 1 and the phase 2, showing what really happened in phase 1 and what is possible to happen in phase 2. And these are the things, most times you don't sell because you don't even believe in the land. So naturally, let me give an instance now. If I come to you now and I'm telling you about C-Plats, how I've known C-Plats over the years I've worked for them, I'll have this convincing power because I've been with C-Plats. So I'll be able to convince you because I believe in C-Plats. But somebody else who doesn't believe in C-Plats will be telling you, they are good, they are good, they are good. Even though they are shouting, there's something called spirits. Your spirit man will leave the person that is talking to enter and negotiate with my own spirits to check if they're in line. That is why you see some agents, they'll be telling you the house is good. As far as your spirit is not there, let them preach up and down. Your spirit is not there. Okay, but if your spirit is there, is not in agreement with that person's spirit. So that is why most times you're not selling because the person you're telling about the land, even you yourself does not believe in the land. If it will develop or if it will go far. So it's good to study land, no matter the company you're marketing for. Check it and say, is it possible? If it's possible for you, then put your strength there and push it forward. Now, also, before you come to your judgment, check other examples, other factors. Okay, let's say you say the land is deep or the land is bushy. Check the ones that were bushy and more forest than cities now. That's how life is. That's how life is. The way everybody is moving to Ibejuleki, Aja in Lagos now. I promise in the next 5 years, that place is not going to be the same. Because even government have opened their eyes to that area. So everything now is pushing there. Before you know it, boom, expansion. So that's it. That's how. Even I'm seeing it. I've heard so many people that have lived from this mainland. They're living in Aja now. It's expansion. Doesn't mean this one will close. People are still here. They're still giving birth. People are still here. So that's one thing about it. So thank you so much. This whole land survey, the business cannot close. If you have entered plane before and you see lands, God. If you see lands, you know what provokes me most times when I'm on flight. I ask myself, why if I don't even have one, not this land I'm seeing? It used to vex me. Because I'll be like, so you mean somebody owns this land I'm seeing now? Because every land is still owned, either by government or by people. Even in Lagos now, you see the Lagos is jam packed. You see one space, there's still lands there. You wondering how come? So there's land everywhere. If you go to Enugu, that one is massive bush. You will see land full everywhere. Once you are going to the east, land plenty. Oweri, land plenty. Land plenty. Imo State has land. Imo State. No, Imo State has land. Abia, everywhere have land. So land, they stay in the business. So by the future now is cheap. Some of us now, do you know that it's possible that some of us can even start a company with our village land. So if they are selling it now and it's cheap, go and buy. Because tomorrow, I don't know. How many of us know a place called Obosi in Anambra? Obosi. Do you know the first time I heard Obosi, my friend told me. So I heard Obosi, I said, I'm not village car, Obosi K. That I'm telling you from my own mentality then. I was like, Obosi K. So okay, let me just go. And I entered from Onitsha to the Obosi. I said, Chineke, here is a town. So, but you know, some people, many years ago, it was a village. It was like normal local village to them. But do you know that a company that tells you that you have land in Obosi now is a very big company? No? Because the Obosi is developed. That is where expansion enters. Small. Obosi people tell you Obosi is now choked up. People are too much in Obosi now. Let's move to this other side. Pam. Before you know it, expansion. So that's how life is. One day I think I saw that I went to a particular church. I feel not enter your compound, if you don't know. Where I've been to, plenty. I cover events now, so I enter. People come what I've gone to compound. No. I travel a lot. I've gone for events in Obosi many times now. I travel a lot. I said I might have entered anybody's compound now, but you don't know because maybe you don't attend the event. When you know is when you see me in your compound. What are you doing here? I'm telling you, I've spent so many things about that. So one time I went to a particular church in Obosi, one women's chapel there, because that place was a hill. So when I went to that hill, I now saw many buildings still coming up, many estates. I was like, So the whole thing came from Onitsha, entered Obosi. So that's how this development comes. Oba is coming. So all these things now to you might be like, it's just a village. Don't see any land you see opportunity to buy. I'm telling you, buy. That's how this expansion. It's just like, for instance, now in Owerri is expanding. They are coming towards Mbise Road. They're expanding to that road going to Mbise. They're expanding to all those Ebu, Emekuku, even Port Harcourt. It's just that's how expansion comes. Just moving. So that's it. I don't try. Thank you so much. I don't try.